Well, good afternoon.
Good
Today,
afternoon.
today is May 6, 2024, 3 o'clock meeting, Rowan County Board of Commissioners. We appreciate seeing folks here today, and we're glad you're here and hope you find your time with us today fruitful. We begin our meetings with something traditional, happens all across the country and has for a long time. We're going to begin with a prayer. We call this a solemnizing prayer. It's a legal term. And what that means is it's for the commissioners, it's not for you. We're going to have our Chaplain Taylor, come forward and pray for the combined wisdom of the commissioners because combined knowledge may not be what this community needs. We may need wisdom instead. And so, Chaplain Taylor, if you'll come forward, following that, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioners, if you'll join me, we'll get started.
Commissioners, let's pray. Lord, we come to you today and thank you for this day you bless us with. Thank you for an opportunity today to come in behalf of our county commissioners, dear Lord. It's a privilege and honor today to be able to pray for them and ask you to give them the wisdom they need today in this meeting today. I thank you for the many hours of preparation they've made for just this meeting, and thank you for all they work that they do for Wayne County. Pray blessings upon them in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Thank you, Chaplain Taylor, as always. Appreciate you. We've got one addition to the agenda. That'll be consent item II, as in indigo, was just handed to us, so we'll consider that on the consent as item II. Any other additions or deletions? All right, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as provided?
So moved.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, and let's see, do we have a motion to then approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, public comment. Jim, why don't you introduce a guest that we have with us today?
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Miss Emma Clark, who just happens to be my granddaughter, and she would like to address the commission at this point in time. You come up here, Emma. I don't think they have to swear you in for this, but if you would speak into the microphone so folks can hear you.
Hey. Hello, my name is Emma Clark, and I'm a senior at West Run High School, and I was also a part of the 3A Women's Basketball State Championship team. So the other week, I was able to unattend the board meeting where they recognized my teammates due to a conflict. So I would like to come here to thank you for recognizing my team along with me as well. Um, I really appreciate all of the support for our community over the past 2 years that we've won. It's been amazing, and the support that y'all have given us has helped us have the success that we've had. So I just want to let you guys know that we would not have been so successful without you guys. And thank you.
Going out front. Lot for us to do. So happy. I've got a copy
All right, Chaplain Taylor, still here? Oh, there he is. All right, our first proclamation is going to be proclamation to establish May as Shoulder Badge with Prayer Awareness Month. And I'm going to read the proclamation, and then I'm sure the chaplain will have something he'd like to say. I never known him not to have something to say. Whereas the Shield of Badge with Prayer program works to affirm the commitment of Rowan County law enforcement officers and encourages citizens' awareness and appreciation for these officers. And whereas the program invites citizens to commit to pray for an officer every day for 1 year and to send birthday cards and notes to thanks to these officers. And whereas through the generosity of individuals, businesses, and churches that have donated services and fundraisers, 10,500 Bibles, 4,000 Shield Badge Bible Promise Books, and 11,300 New Testaments have been purchased to be given away. And whereas the Shield Badge with Prayer program began in 1995 in Rowan County by Chaplain Michael Taylor and has begun to expand statewide, reaching out to other counties, municipalities, colleges, hospitals, correctional facilities, 911 communication, probation officers, animal control officers, state highway patrol troopers, fire departments, clerk of court employees, magistrates, judges, district attorney offices, county commissioners, sheriffs, first responders, emergency medical services, police departments, and attorneys. And whereas the dedication and travels of Chaplain Taylor, counties from across the state are receiving encouragement and training for chaplains. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Rowan County Board of Commissioners does hereby establish the month of May as Shield of Bear with Prayer Awareness Month. This, the 6th of May, 2024. I make that as a motion. Aye.
Never give a preacher the microphone. I'd like to say that I appreciate the sheriff allowing me to continue this program. This is the 29th year. We do what we do is because of our officers and all law enforcement, what they do. Last week is evident of the dangers they face and the job they do. The average public doesn't really understand that, and I appreciate them. And I don't know about you, but it broke my heart for those families to lose their loved ones last week and those who were wounded in the line of duty. So I want to encourage all Rowan County, any other counties too, to take time, pray for an officer, pick an officer out, let us know, and we'll be glad to assign you an officer, and you can be able to keep up with them during the year, let them know that we appreciate them. Thanks for the honor to do what we do. We appreciate all law enforcement. And we've tried to give all these agencies that we mentioned, since we've done this in 29 years, we made sure that every one of those agencies have received a Shield of Badge Prayer New Testament or Bible. And that's where they all went to. Because the Word of God is very important. It tells us how we need to live. It tells us we can find the comfort we need and protection we need through the Lord.
All right. So we've got Police Week coming up, and it's, I think the chaplain mentioned it, obviously last week was a very bad week for law enforcement. We lost four of our own last week. I know there's several in here from law enforcement. 1-to-1 funerals is rough. going to multiple funerals over the years is even worse. Um, it's just really a bad time in this country. I don't know what it is, but people are just so angry, disrespectful right now. Uh, People are just getting evil and meaner, and I don't know what it is. I guess it's the coming toward the end times, maybe. But there's still good people out there that want to go and do a good job, want to go out there and try to protect the community, serve their country the best they can. And we're very fortunate to live here in Rowan County. We have a lot of citizens that care about and support our law enforcement. I know we got some good folks back here in the back that've been doing it for years, and so this is going to be a rough week next week for law enforcement, but here, but nationwide, it's this annual week that we try to remember those that serve and those that have died in the line of duty. So um, it's kind of odd, where I work. I don't really, I don't get a lot of thank you in the area that I work. Um, but this last week had a lot of people. A lot of people had. All right, so we're going to talk about. Let's get our sheriff and our chief deputy up here. Anybody else in here? Law enforcement. All right, this is Proclamation Law Enforcement Week. Whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed a presidential proclamation that set aside May 15th as National Peace Officer Memorial Day. And the week of May 15th through 21st is the National Police Week. And whereas the members of law enforcement agencies in Rowan County play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of our citizens, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agencies. And whereas members of the law enforcement agencies recognize their day to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against the violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas law enforcement officers, past and present, have faithfully and loyally rendered a dedication to service to this county and have established for themselves an invaluable and enduring reputation to preserving the rights and security of our citizens. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Rowan County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim May 12th through 18th, 2024 as Law Enforcement Week, and now therefore be it further proclaimed that the Rowan County Board of Commissioners calls upon all citizens of Rowan County to observe May 14th, 2024 as Peace Officer Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community, or have become disabled in the performance of duty. Let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. This is the 6th day of May, 2024. Make that form of motion. Aye.
We'd like to say thank you to the county. It's a group effort. When I think of emergency services, I think of EMS and 911 and county fire and rescue squad. It's a joint effort that we all do together. We couldn't make it without them. And I also thank the county commissioners and the county manager's office and staff that work with us on a daily basis. We're probably the biggest thorn in their flesh, but we're learning how to do better, and we really appreciate the work that they do for us and the efforts they put in. They do a lot of work, a lot of big contracts, a lot of things that they help walk us through, and we're very appreciative of the county manager's office and the commissioners because we couldn't do it without what you give us and the people in your offices that make it happen. And we're thankful for all of you very much. Thank you.
Chaplain in here with us.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a comment? I too have a law enforcement person in my family. "26-year-old Ashley Elizabeth Anderson. I pray every day for her. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And for those of you who don't know, we are really proud and fortunate to have the experience and heart and dedication and commitment of one of our own commissioners. Mike Caskey is a Charlotte police officer, and those following this week were friends of his. And Mike had worked with them in some capacity at some point. And so there's not a day that we talk to Mike that we don't say, be careful, and that we're not praying for Mike. Mike has also volunteered in the reserves, and he serves his nation as well. And so we come across a lot of folks in our lives that we certainly build respect for, but in my life, I've not come to respect many folks, maybe any folks, more than I do Mike Caskey. Appreciate his commitment to this community. Think about it, this community, the Charlotte Mecklenburg community in this nation. I just appreciate you, Mike. And we pray for you each day and pray for your safety. All right, let's move on. Shane, no pressure with you.
Good, because I'll probably fail you here.
Yeah, Shane, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So this request here is a rezoning for property owned by William and Alexander Yost. And Mr. Williams here present in case the board has any questions later, but it pertains to his property at 700 Cobble Farm Road. Looking at the map, Cobble Farm is a state-maintained road. It's about halfway between Briggs and Neal Road on Highway 150. It's at the very end, that dead-end road. So that's the site we're talking about. If you look at the aerial image here, it's a little over 2 years old, but it captures the parcel boundary. And it's little stats, it's 36 acres. And currently, if you see the upper side here, that's the yellow color is rural ag. So it's on that border of RA and RR in the gray. So the request would be to convert from RR to RA and then add an agricultural overlay. You may remember about a year ago, we adopted some text changes that provided more opportunities in that AO district. So that would be the request, both change to RA and add the ag overlay. Looking at the pictometry or the aerial photo still from 2 years ago, the property is about 36 acres again, and it's home of the Cobble Creek Vineyard. So at that location there, they raise and produce muscadine varieties of grapes and wines. They also have in that facility you see on the upper right-hand corner, they have different events through agritourism offerings for the community, so meetings, events, private parties, and other things on the site. And there's a little smaller building there on the lower side that I think also support the ag element of the land. So if you look at the overall the vineyard there, it's a little over 6.5 acres. 5 acres alone qualifies you for that ag exemption through the tax office. So a little over an acre and a half. More than that, and I think there's another vineyard on a neighboring tract too that they may work together on. Anytime we compare a district change, we list both in the table of uses and try to take that 5-page document and really squash it down into a small comparison. So when you look at this, They're very similar in allowed uses. The RR has a much smaller home occupation allowance, and absent that, it's very similar. But it provides the opportunity in the RA district, you can have an agriculture overlay, and that's the third column over here to the right. So it supplements the existing uses that are deemed exempt from zoning with a few ancillary features that you see in the group here, and that's what the advantage that it would offer the site. If you look out in a half mile of the site, you see a lot of green. That represents properties in the present use value program, of which this one here was enrolled initially in 97, possibly even earlier, but that's the records I've got, what goes back to 97. And it also, 2 years ago, was enrolled in the voluntary ag district. So that's another recognition that the Yost have established on the property.
I want to, what are you doing to green up your grass so well? I'm working. All right. Working on my yard. I may need some tips. Looks great.
I know what makes it green, and I can bring it to you in the back of a pickup truck.
Well, well, as elected officials, we deal in that quite a bit, I think. So we're trying to lighten the mood here. All right, go ahead. Sorry, Shane.
That's good. Well, speaking of green, so a lot of the green that you see here is deemed prime farmland, also from our soil survey. The small little section of gray actually, I think, met two of the three factors. So it's a drainage area through the site. This is draft branch. Kind of odd how it's colored in the middle. The water shouldn't be green, but nonetheless, it just recognizes there's a lot of good soil in this area. So I won't hit all these points, but effectively, and probably better, working from the bottom two bullet points, the Working Ags Land Plan, adopted a year ago. I have two recommendations. Recommendation one is support measures to protect and promote working forest and farmland in the county. So obviously this would, with the supplemental uses allowed in that AO. And then more broadly is just any recommendation that could support and encourage additional agritourism, then there would be some encouragement there. The first three bullet points are the West area plan, not as direct, but again, we're migrating that. In the first one, it says encourage medium density. The two are almost synonymous with density wise, RA and RR, for how many houses they could develop if they wanted to. So we sent notice to adjoining landowners within 100 feet, posted a sign, ad in the paper, both planning board, commission meeting, nobody reached out, and nobody spoke at the planning board meeting. The board did recommend approval unanimously. They offered this statement of consistency and reasonableness for the board. So in consideration of that, and also holding your hearing this afternoon, would need a motion to adopt that statement and then for the request.
All right, anything for Shane, you guys? All right, Mr. Yost, anything from you?
Mr. Yost, can I ask you some questions? It's the farmer in me.
Excuse me?
So I said it's the farmer in me. So I'm not that familiar with agriculture in Rowan, but as the general rule of thumb, I understand that good, wonderful farmland is getting harder and harder to come by, and that it's sprouting houses rather than crops. So I am truly pleased that those 34.7 acres are in the present use value. But what is your general thought about trying to preserve ag land?
general thought is that we need a balance between farmland and rural. So we need to understand the value of both. So there's an assets that we all cherish. So this little portion of this has been in the family since the 1900s. It was a IRA originally, but it was changed back in maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Well, 15 years before. Uh, I think everybody needs a place to call home, and that's primarily why you need a little bit of farmland.
Well, when you look at the growing population of the world and where a lot of food comes for the world, I guess my concern is when I drive out in your direction, a little further west, I was really shocked to see an enormous, probably 40-acre housing complex. And how many more have we seen of those in the last 5 years? I know these are
Yes.
hard.
I'm also
but-
on the North Carolina Farm Bureau and the also environmental agency in the Raleigh or the state of North Carolina. So I agree with you. We're losing probably 20% a year from the highway from 77, Interstate 40, 885, and also 95. So all these are, again, growing areas. And we understand that everybody would like to come out and visit and have their own little place, okay? But again, we need to go back to balance. And if we, as long as this government and our community and county have a balance between what's right and what's good, we can offset that. That's about the only thing I can say.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. Anything else?
Anyone else? All right, we'll open the floor. We're gonna have a public hearing. And if anyone would like to speak about this rezoning, this would be a good time. Going once, going twice. All right, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, we've got first the statement of consistency I'll offer up. Z0524 is consistent with Area 2 of the Western Land Use Plan and reasonable and appropriate based on the following. First of all, 34.7 acres of this property has been listed in present use value program since 1997. Secondly, property was designated as voluntary agriculture district in January of 22. Do we have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Then do we have a motion to approve Z05-24?
So moved.
And a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Yost. Enjoyed being out at your place. We recently had a ag tour and landed at his vineyards, and that was a good day. Appreciate it. All right, we'll move on. Purchasing contract is done. Okay, Jody. All right.
Good afternoon. I've got an amendment, number 1 on here. The county has a current
Bless you.
contract with ADW Architects for the design of the health department at the West End Plaza. And we're wanting to amend it to remove alternate number 1 and include it in the total base bid that we're requesting. And I've got Philip Steele from ADW to explain his reasoning.
Thank you, Jody. Good afternoon, Commissioners, Chair. So like Jody mentioned, what I want to explain today is adding what we thought would just be alternate 1 into the base bid for the health department. And I'm going to kind of show you some images of why. Because right now, base bid is just doing the interior renovations of the health department. So this view is showing you the Dollar Tree as well as Big Lots, which will be, in the future, will be the health department. You can see from the photographs, it's a little dated. Tile is falling off, and we'll talk about that here in a second. The other area is Badcock Furniture. You see that? That's currently in operation. And that was actually, we were going to call that alternate 1 now, to do that renovation from Badcock all the way around towards J.C. Penney's. So you'd really have a complete renovation around the entire building, excluding J.C. Penney's would not be included in this design. From Big Lots, you can see if we leave and have alternate 1 right now is not to include anything in base bid for the exterior renovations. We would have to go in at least fix some of the plaster. The Big Lots is actually brick veneer behind the Big Lot sign. There's tile falling off. It's pretty bad shape. And I'd hate to see putting some money into the interior and not doing anything on the exterior of the building if alternate number 1 was not accepted during bid day. Moving on, you can start to see the shots. This is a shot going into the old Big Lots. You can see some of the tile at the base and the sidewalk is falling apart. You can see there's some aluminum trim above the windows is falling apart as well. And I just, again, just to reiterate, I just don't think if we did do anything to the outside, it would be pretty sad to come into this new facility on the inside and still have the outside look like this. Here's a picture from the end, which where the health department would be going. You see the tile's been removed. It would be hard for us to replace that if you just wanted to replace it in base bid. Badcock is actually not bad shape. The canopy looks pretty good. The ephes on the exterior of the building looks fairly good. Then you get into the side, right side of Badcock, you start to see some tiles off the columns are starting to fall apart. Just to kind of recap, on the left side is our recommendation, and the base bid is to include a 42,000 square foot interior renovation. The outside would be to be renovated all the way from the corner, the left corner, all the way to Badcock, and that would just be the health department.
Philip, while you've got this up, down the road, once we get this out for bid, you'll also see a change order I've talked to several of you about to do the front of the J.C. Penney's building and then the interior walking part that y'all talked about. But right now, they're trying to get this done so we can get it out to bid and under contract before the ARPA money runs out.
Before the end of the year, exactly. The only caveat we have is we've got to go through City of Salisbury for zoning. They don't like alternates. They want everything in base bid. It takes about 6 to 7 months for that process, and we're going to start that very quickly, probably next month. So if you're just going to do half of the building right now, just the health department, our recommendation today would also look at the Badcock renovation and just go ahead and do that all at once for zoning. So that way we don't have to go through that process again when you want to do the exterior renovation for Badcock.
What takes 6 or 7 months with the city?
To get the site plan approved for zoning as well as exterior, because you guys are in a conditional zoning district. We have to do community meetings. We've got drawings, engineering drawings we need to submit to zoning, and it's just with their current workload, it takes 6 to 7 months to go through that process. Yes, yep. Just to recap, right now we have 4 alternates. First alternate would be well, alternate number 2 would be the parking. Drive this thing around. Fast. There we go. All right, so the red would be an alternate 2. So alternate 1 would be from Badcock renovation all the way around just to J.C. Penney's, but do not do in J.C. Penney's for alternate 1. Alternate 2 would be the red, which would be parking, new landscaping, new asphalt parking, and new light fixtures. Alternate 3 would be a new entrance drive around the facility, new parking that's secured with a fence for the health department, and new service drive all the way down to the agricultural center. So all of this would be in alternate 3.
And Philip, you are going to get this bid out in time to get under contract.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on schedule.
Say that in the microphone so we can get you on,
Yeah.
on tape.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, but we are on schedule. We just had our design development cost estimate back from our professional cost estimator, And I will show you that at the end of this presentation, but we are in schedule. Because we have to be under contract by the end of the year, which is in December this year. During design, when we met with the health department, they added a 2-lane drive with a drop-off area. That could be if COVID comes back and you need more vaccines and things like that. That would be you could stack your cars around here and then utilize that little pass-through window for that. So we decided to put that in for alternate 4. This image shows you what we're proposing today. Again, base bid would be the exterior renovations. And the current design is alternate 1. You can see that Badcock, there would be no renovations, but again, we would recommend that today to at least do that as base bid 2 if you wanted to. You can start to see the architecture would be fairly new here, and then you'd have the old Badcock all the way around to the J.C. Penney's, and it just looked a little strange because you'd have a building that's been half renovated and the other half is not renovated. Just another rendering showing you the main department of Rowan County Health Department. And here's a good shot showing you kind of what it would look like if you did not include Badcock of doing the renovations as an alternate. Right now, this is going to be alternate 2 alternate 1 we're proposing. And then the left side where the new renovations would be part of base bid. But again, I think looking at this, it would look a little strange if you did half of the area, not the entire thing. Here is what it could look like if it's all in base bid. You would have the Rowan County Health Department renovation. Badcock would have a new front entrance and still be in current operation. And we would give a new facelift to the main entry of the mall. And again, we would wrap that around all the way to J.C. Penney's, and J.C. Penney's would not be renovated part of this project. So that would be our recommendation, is to do all of this in base bid to make sure that you get it included in the construction cost. Another shot looking at it. And here's the side shot looking at the main entrance into the mall, as well as the main entrance into Badcock. And then again, this is the entrance into the health department. And we're putting, just to give you an idea, we're doing hardy board, which we're doing on the other side where the Egg Center is. We're doing new stone veneer, new hardy board, and then also a new new signage for each department. Another view looking into the main mall area. Okay, so we just got costs back, I think it was last Friday. We are in design development, and we're moving the project forward in construction documents. In a few months, we will be bidding the project and kind of seeing what these costs are. Right now in base bid, let's kind of recap, the interior renovations, also the exterior renovations that would only go to Badcock. That would be new canopies, all the new doors, and then the new look to it. Just is about $15,463,240. Alternate 1, again, we still recommend to put alternate 1 into base bid, but we can discuss that further. That would be the exterior renovations only. Right where health department stopped, it would be the Badcock renovations, as well as the main entry renovation all the way to J.C. Penney's, and that was at $1,225,071. Alternate 2 would be the exterior renovations for the parking lot. That includes new parking, new site lights, and that was just a little bit over $2 million, $2,300,186. Alternate 3, it would be the exterior renovations, East Drive, on the east side, and that back parking lot, as well as a service drive, just a tad over $741,000. Alternate 4, which was recommended by the health department, was to do a new drive-through window with the canopy, as well as car lanes, 2 car lanes, and that was $335,907. One thing in this facility is it's very deep inside the health department. Natural light always makes a big difference, especially when you have the clients coming in. They're not feeling well. We thought that possibly, as adding another alternate, we could do is propose some skylights in at least the main corridor area to get some natural light in there. We are putting some punch windows on the east side, the east drive, east area, to get some natural light into some of the offices, exam rooms, and things like that, which will be part of base bid. But we also thought that what would the cost be if we wanted to add some skylights into the facility? And that was $151,200. So the construction cost, right now, we're at $19,920,445. We do have an owner contingency. As you all know, I'm working on the Egg Center. There's always unforeseen things that we're uncovering, unconditioned things. And we do have a allocated contingency of 7.5%, and that's at $1,494,033. So the total construction cost, right now we're at is $21,414,476. And then you add in owner soft costs, that would be survey costs. You guys want us to do furniture design, that we're working on a fee proposal right now on that. That's included in this cost. There's surveying that we had to put into the project, design fees, anything that is extra cost outside of construction costs would be owner soft costs, as well as designer fees, and that was at $3,295,897. So the grand total funding for the project right now, we are at $24,710,375, and that would be all in for the project. Are there any questions with anything?
It could be, they've currently got a lease, but once their lease is up, um, you know, we can negotiate further with them.
I just wanted to add too, if you did want to put that renovation in base bid, we are making accommodations or drawings to keep them in business during construction. We don't want to have them lose any revenue. So we can design around that.
So Phil, how are we doing with the owner contingency fund on the ag part of the building?
We're under the 7.5% right now. The project will be done in a few months, and we're looking pretty good. There was some big hiccups, some things we just haven't seen. We are going to get the existing sanitary lines in this building cambered, so we can know the condition and the location. We don't have any drawings knowing the location of the sanitary, so there'll be a little fee for that as well. So we're trying everything we can to uncover before the contractor uncovers it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Are we being asked to approve this tonight?
Yes, sir. What it is changing this from an alternate to or changing the base bid to include the, what was alternate two. Is that right, Philip?
Alternate one. So let's back up. This is reflecting what our recommendation is, excluding, we would also recommend to include alternate one into the base bid. Because if you don't do that and say you don't accept alternate one during the bid openings, half of the building will be renovated and the other half will not be renovated. Might look a little weird for, a little bit of time.
So what you're saying is the new base bid estimate would be just add in the cost of alternate one, so
Yeah.
set about 17
Yeah,
million.
so you would add in the $1,225,000 would be added back into the 15,463. Okay?
Mr. Manager and our finance lady, where are we at on our ARPA funds that we can put into this project?
Between 10 and 12 million, and it'll be gone, there will be no more.
ARPA funds.
Yeah, all the ARPA funds, the remaining go into this project. And the budget we're working on that's not completed has this completely funded, the building. Paying cash for it. Using the ARPA funds then using the Medicaid cost settlement from the health department, approximately 5 million. And then using 10 million from fund balance.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate seeing alternate number 2.
Yeah. Yeah, and J.C. Penney's is, architecturally, it's, right now, it looks good, the brick looks good. This part of the mall just, it's taken more of a beating over the years. It's just a little bit more worn out.
Originally added
It was a Rose's department store at one time.
All at one time.
Yeah,
but the other thing is that parking lot out there, Polo Raceway, guidance.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Almost been hit.
And in these traffic circles and drop-off areas in the area really does control traffic. It does give the main entry to the mall an identity that you're kind of missing right now. And then also adding landscaping and more natural light, artificial light, is going to be a huge enhancement for y'all.
Well, I'm fine with adding alternate one into the base bid because we're making such an investment in it anyway. We want it, at least I know that's a good point for it to stop because no one knows what the future is going to hold. And we've seen projects that got halfway done. And I think if we couldn't do anything past alternate one, what alternate one is now, I think at a minimum, the project would look pretty good. So I don't have a problem with that in it in.
When you say we've, talking about, does that include all the alternates?
That includes assuming y'all accept all the alternates.
Those again?
So if you don't accept the alternates, then that would be, money that, you would subtract that from the 10 million fund balance appropriation. And the only reason the budget will be recommending several capital fund balances because it's a one-time expense, it's not recurring.
So between the ARPA money, 10 to 12, and the Medicaid refund of 5 million, we've got 17 million cleared. So that would be an additional, what, 10 million?
Well, if you,
But you got to.
Chairman, I'd just like to say, as long as we take this money out of the unrestricted fund balance and pay cash for it, I don't have a problem with it, but I don't want to borrow any money. I think we borrowed enough money and it's time to stop.
Would you help me understand again? I get, the parking area. I mean, I think you got the same problem with parking. If anyone's driven past, West End Plaza on the right side, it's stunning what is happening. It's,
Yeah, I can show you that. Yeah, exactly.
it looks
It's
like,
kind of the same. It's kind of the same thing. So
and
anything left of this red line is in construction right now. Anything to the right of the area could or cannot be added. It's an alternate.
and,
But you could put all that in base bid. It might look a little weird because you're going to have different lighting, brand new parking lot, brand new lights, and over here, if you don't take alternate on that, it would just be the way it is now.
And by the way, on the right side of that, or left, depending on if you're looking at it from the front, we've got our truck driving school is operating there
Yeah,
and just tearing it up.
yeah.
So, yeah, it'll, all right, so can we go back to the bids? Aaron, what were you talking about the interior finishing, the walking? Is this included in here?
No, so
No?
during the retreat, y'all talked about can you go back to the overhead? I'm sorry.
Yep, no problem.
So you talked about remodeling from, okay, so, well, nobody can see what my hand's touching. Uh, Yeah, kind of where the red line is. If you pull that all the way down, then everything's gonna be new to the left. And then on the right, all the way, to Babcock, everything will be new on the right. And what y'all had talked about, I believe, in the retreat, and y'all had subsequently got a cost
Mhm.
estimate on it. You can share that now if you want, because I can't remember, but
Yeah, I have it. I
it
don't
was
have it here.
basically renovating from renovation to renovation, making everything look new inside. The reason we're not adding it to this project here, I mean, we could if it were not for the ARPA funds, the deadline that's coming up. So once they get all this done, we get it bid and under contract, and we meet the ARPA stuff, then they can immediately start doing that. So hopefully there won't be a really long period of time between renovating the interior and the exterior of J.C. Penney's. I mean, we could do it now, but I'm afraid we might lose the 10 million. You want to go back to the numbers, Philip?
Yes, sir.
I think it was like between 4 and 5 million to do everything from one end to the next.
I don't have it with me, but I can get it to you.
All right, so we've got the funding, all the alternates.
If you approve the budget that you hadn't seen.
Oh, boy.
Well, that was why I asked the original question, do we have to do this tonight, or could it be put off until the next meeting so that we would, as commissioners, would have, I mean, we are in the middle of budget, and we typically have an opportunity, each of us, to come spend our vacation time with you.
So, I mean,
Kind of understand where we are.
if you adopt this, the only thing you're doing different is currently you're committing, well, I can't do the math that fast, but what you're doing is adding $1.2 million to the project cost that otherwise you would have added after the bids came in.
Well, for alternate one.
Right.
Right.
You're still not committing to alternate 2, 3, 4, or 5, but you've already committed to one, the base. Well, you ain't committed to it until you approve the bid, but you've already approved the 15.4 as the base bid. You're just,
So do we need to commit to 2, 3, 4, and 5 tonight?
no.
One.
Yeah, what they're asking you to do is, because when y'all approved the base bid, you didn't approve the other, so we couldn't go change it without your knowledge. So what this is doing is adding 1.2 into the base bid. So when they bid it out, it'll be in there.
Will this help speed up the Salisbury process
Uh, it,
by several months?
it won't speed them up, but at least we could say, hey, you guys want to take initiative doing the entire, go back here, do the entire exterior, at least the exterior, and not half of the building. I don't think they would like to see that.
Yeah.
The zoning department would like to see that, which would be this concept.
So we can tackle option 1 tonight and speak with you, come back together and talk about the other alternates.
And I'll just add that, typically you do these alternates in case these bids don't come in where you expect them, so you don't have to do all the alternates. So that's the purpose of having them listed out too, because if this comes back higher than what they're projecting, you could decide not to do alternate 3, but still do the others. That's part of why you do it that way.
I do have a Groupon coupon that I cut out of the paper.
Cash it in, right?
All right, I'll make a motion that we accept alternate 1 and make it part of the base bid.
So moved.
Discussion. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Tell Bob we said hello.
Will do. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you all. Thank you, Craig. And Jody. Thank you, Jody. All right, who's running this next one? Is it Aaron or is it our marshal?
I'm gonna
Oh,
read.
and Alan.
I'm gonna read what I wrote, and then they're gonna help me. But so this, ultimately, I can't explain the technicals that well, but this is to help Gold Hill and Pool Town. It will increase their tax base and decrease the tax base of the Richfield Service District, which is in Stanley County. But in order to do that, this is the first step in the process. And I'm going to read it because if the board decides to vote to do this, we've all looked at this language and we think it's the right way to get to the solution of helping Gold Hill and Pool Town. And before I read it, there's 2 different types of fire departments. One is a rural fire department, and one is a fire service district. So what we're doing in this act is dealing with the fire service district. So in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 153A 304(3), changes in adjoining service districts, the Board of Commissioners, now if you vote to do this, you'll be directing the manager to prepare a report to redistrict the Richfield Service District with East Rowan Service District and redraw Gold Hill and Pool Town's coverage of the East Rowan Service District. And so once y'all do that, the report shall contain what I'm getting ready to read. And at that meeting is when you'll have a lot more information with maps and stuff, and you'll see what's actually going to happen. And then you'll have to vote on that too. All you're doing tonight is voting to allow us to explore it and bring it back to you. So it's not finalizing it. So one, you're going to direct me to bring a map of the service district and the adjacent territory showing the current and proposed boundaries of the district. 2, the report will have a statement indicating that the proposed boundary location meets the requirements of subsection A of North Carolina General Statute 158-3043. 3, a plan for providing service to the area affected by the relocation of the district boundaries. And 4, the effect that the changes in the amount of taxable property will have on the ability of the district to provide service or to serve any debt. So I know that is a lot and it sounds very technical, but that is what is required in order for us to begin exploring helping Gold Hill and Pool Town increase their tax base in Eastern Rowan. And with that, if you have any questions, Deb and Alan and TJ will answer them. And Jay.
All right. Deborah, anything from you?
No, I believe everything that you will need will be in the report, and we will have and hopefully all the answers to your questions on the 20th of May when we come back.
Maybe you could also provide us a list of questions that we should ask.
Yes, sir.
All right, I know we've been talking about Alan, TJ, anything from you guys? Okay. So I'll make a motion that we require a report containing these 4 items that were read. Is that adequate?
Yes, sir.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Good work.
Gotcha. All right, we have some board appointments. Are we having closed session, Jay? Yes, okay. All right, we've got some board appointments. I'll do a couple here combined. Agricultural Advisory Board, Suzanne Marguerite Ramsey applied for reappointment to the Farming Three seat of the Ag Board and also Central Iowa Workforce Development Board. Mike Beaver and Kim Bartleson applied to be reappointed for 2 private sector seats. Do we have a motion to approve those 3?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Franklin Volunteer Fire Department, they have some appointments. Commissioner Pierce, you have something to say on
Yes,
this?
sir. Mr. Chairman, John Thomason had applied, and there was a misconception about the fact that his son, who has the same name, was a trustee on that fire department, which did not make him eligible to apply for this position. So we clarified that. I'd like to add John Thomason to the list, and I'd like to nominate Spencer Lane, and John Thomason, and Mark Sokolowski.
All right, that's a motion. We have a second.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Library Board, this is a lifetime appointment, isn't it?
No.
No? All right. All right, Library Board, Jim Green has applied for an appointment replacing Mr. Caskey. And then Mark Helms applied for an at-large seat on the Library Board. Elizabeth Cook applied for an ex officio Rowan Public Library Foundation seat on the Library Board. And Jenny Hubbard applied for an ex officio Friends Rowan County Public Library seat. Do we have a motion to approve all 4 of those? Motion?
So moved.
All right. So in a second? Do you, what?
Oh, I said so moved.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Whatever.
All right, in a
I
second?
second.
All right,
Second.
second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Ask about any opposed.
Any opposed? Yeah,
Too late.
giving you that opportunity. All right, we're going to move into closed session, and I'll read our closed session. Board is asked to enter into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-31811A1 to consider approval of the minutes of the closed session held on February 5th, 2024, as described by North Carolina General Statute 143-31810E, provided that minutes or an account of a closed session may be withheld from public inspection, so long as public inspection would frustrate the purpose of a closed session, and pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-31811A3, to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged regarding the opioid litigation. Make that in form of motions, or so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll get started as soon as the sheriff slams the door. All right, we're back in. Motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Pierce,
Motion to adjourn. Second.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Have a good week. Be safe.